When it comes to flow, there's a secret component that most people don't know about. I'm going to share it with you in this video. In this video, I have another fascinating and multi-layered topic for you guys. It's basically the topic of flow versus resistance, the role that focus, surrender, and receiving play, and the secret component. Now let's start with a basic understanding of the two expressions. Flow describes a desired state of being, a state of being where the energies in your life can flow freely and smoothly. And the opposite is basically resistance. It's a state of being where you have the impression that the energies in your life cannot flow freely, and you don't know why maybe. So the important note is that both of them are states of being, and neither is actually something that you do. Flow is the result of alignment, and resistance is the result of misalignment and primarily false beliefs. Now, if you don't do flow and you also don't do resistance, then what do you actually do? So for resistance, please check out my video that I've done previously on emotions, beliefs, and behavior. Because in this video, I actually want to focus on flow. And I want to focus on components of flow. The first one being focus. Now, focus basically means that you focus energy towards something and into something, and you create a strong stream of energy. And basically, focus acts as an amplifier of flow. The next component is surrender. Surrender is basically the opposite of focus, and surrender is a tool that you use when somehow flow has stopped and you've encountered blocks on your way. The next component is receiving. Receiving is actually a precondition of flow. If you don't know how to receive, then flow cannot happen. Now here's the tricky part about receiving. Receiving is also not something that you actively do. Now if you're thinking, what? So I don't do flow, and I also don't do receiving, which is a precondition to flow, then what do I do? Well, I'm glad you asked, because I want to talk to you guys now about the so-called secret component. And the secret component is showing up. When you show up, the showing up part actually builds the foundation of flow. Now, I can imagine that some of you guys are confused about the secret component because you have actually heard so much oppositional information on flow. You might have heard, oh, flow can only happen in your life when you sit back, when you release it all and you don't do anything. But to me, to be honest, and based on my experience, these are false programmings. These are limiting programmings that have actually been running rampant in the spiritual community. And if I had to guess what or who the source of false programmings like these is, I would say it's the devil, it's Lucifer, it's basically the false light. It's basically the misleading light. It's what presents itself, and it presents certain teachings pretending that they are helpful and that they are assisting you on your spiritual journey, but they're not. All right, now let's build flow from foundation up. And we start with the showing up part. What's important is that you go through life as aligned and as connected to your higher self as much as possible. And from this aligned state of being, you act on inspired ideas and inspired thoughts. So when you act and when you become active and you start implementing those thoughts and those inspired ideas that have received you, that's when the universe actually meets you halfway. You show up and the universe meets you halfway. And this is the moment you actually start receiving. That's why I said receiving is also not something you do actively. You show up, the universe meets you halfway, you start receiving, and the universe basically, from that point onwards, walks alongside of you. Now, focus and surrender are tools that you use within an existing flow process. Remember, I mentioned focus acts as an amplifier of flow. So when things are running smoothly and they're running well, you use focus to stream your energy into the process of flow. And your only job is not to get distracted. And trust me, there are forces and there are energies that will try to distract you along this path. So you use focus and you stream your energy and you continue one step at a time. And the tool of surrender is actually what you use when you encounter roadblocks. Now, if you ask, why would you encounter roadblocks in the first place? Well, when you enter the spiritual realms and you start your journey of spiritual development, you're bound to encounter roadblocks, which are basically things, experiences in the past, wounds that get triggered, that kind of wake up along your path through an energetic reaction, and they start appearing. So when a roadblock appears, you have the tool of surrender to deal with it in that manner, in that situation. So what exactly do you do in terms of surrender? What you do is that you temporarily shift your focus onto something else. And this something else ideally should match your energy system. So what I mean is, if you're a kind of person who can, in those moments, just relax, sit back, maybe read a book, then you do that. If, however, you're more inclined to active and fast-moving energies, and your energy body works that way, it's possible that sitting back, reading a book is not going to work well for you. Then it's actually better that you find something else that you can do in an active manner. And you do so. You use the tool of surrender because, for example, maybe there's an important message that wants to come through for whatever you're doing in that moment for your existing flow process. Or it's possible that some kind of delay needs to take place temporarily so that some kind of improvement can take place. Or maybe there's an important cooperative component that needs to enter your experience in your realm, and the delay takes place so this cooperative component can actually enter. Now, when do you actually then continue? After you've surrendered, when do you pick up again and focus again into the existing flow process? It's not so easy to say, and it's not a clear sign that I can give to you through this video. You would just have to go with emotions and see and intuitively pick up the right time to continue on that existing flow process. So it's possible that whatever block appeared, you actually managed to clear that. Or if an important message was supposed to come through, that the message actually came through, you had the aha, the revelation, and it feels to you like you could continue now. But either way, you don't have to worry that you're going to miss the signal that appears and miss the signal of continuing on your journey. As long as you stay connected and aligned, from my experience, you cannot miss that sign. All right, everyone. I hope this video helps you on your development, on your spiritual journey.